Beneath the ordinary world lies a veil, and behind it, the voices of the lost still whisper.
We are your guides into the shadows, where true crime meets the paranormal.
From chilling crimes to haunted histories, we uncover the stories that refuse to rest.
This is Veil of Echoes.
Imagine pulling into a coworker's driveway early one morning. His car is still parked outside. The curtains are closed, and although you know he should have left for work hours ago, the house appears completely still. You walk toward the front door and knock. Once, then again. No answer. You call his name through the glass. Still nothing. And then you remember what he told everyone the day before. If I don't show up tomorrow, it's because she killed me. You glance down and notice something dark smeared across the door. Blood. Police arrive and force their way inside, but you remain outside, watching as one officer steps through the doorway and suddenly stops. Because whatever happened inside that house did not end when John Price took his final breath. And the woman he had warned everyone about was still inside.
This is episode 73. If I Don't Come to Work Tomorrow, the Katherine Knight case.
Welcome back to Veil of Echoes, where the darkest crimes leave an echo, the unexplained refuses to stay buried, and every story pulls us closer to what waits beyond the veil.
We're your host, I'm Lindsay.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Bria. Before we get into today's case, we have two really quick things. First, our monthly listener giveaway is officially open. So, basically for our listener giveaways, we just want to do something cool for you guys as a thank you for being part of our community. So we put together these cool little boxes with like crystals. We made a tarot card for you guys. It's called the Listener Tarot Card. It's pretty cool. We put sage in the last one.
Card decals.
Yes, card decals that Lindsay's making. They're pretty cool. Yeah, we think you'd like them, and a handwritten little note card from us to you guys. So,
just a simple thank you.
Yes. So, but in order to have the chance to get one of these, if you enjoy our show, we just would like you to leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Screenshot it to us, and then we will put your name into our monthly drawing.
Hell yeah, brother.
Get in on that action.
We appreciate you guys, but the people who's got them so far said they're awesome, so that makes us happy. So, but yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want some cool shit, just do it.
Exactly.
And we're also accepting your stories for Echoes from the Veil. So if you've experienced something paranormal, unexplained, or simply impossible to forget, we would love to hear from you.
You can send your story to veilofechoespodcast@gmail.com, and you can choose whether you'd like to come onto the show and share it yourself, or remain anonymous and have one of us tell it for you.
And thank you to everyone who has already trusted us with their experiences. We have had some incredible stories coming in, and we can't wait for you to hear them.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up.
Yes.
Be prepared.
This Echoes from the Veil segment we'd like to start next month in August. So we'll probably be doing 1 or 2 mini-sodes of these once a month. But yeah, just send us your stories. Excited to hear it.
Yeah, I want to know if anybody's got a story of a ghost using a banjo.
That'd be wicked.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Or have you been abducted by aliens that took you off this planet?
Yes. Or if you've been stalked by a creeper.
With a
Have
banjo.
you seen Obsession? Have you been in an obsession situation? We definitely want to know about that.
Yeah, definitely.
With a banjo.
Yeah, if they're outside obsessed with you with a banjo, I'm worried too.
Yeah.
My heels have eyes situation.
Oh, we just watched that
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, baby.
Obsession movie last night. Have you watched that yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh, jeez. It's different.
She made me feel afraid. I was like,
I felt very uncomfortable watching it, but yeah,
you need to go
it
do
was
something
good.
with your life.
It was good.
Guess I need to watch it then.
Mm-hmm. So, before we get into this one, I do have a question for both of you. So, do you think most people recognize when someone in their life is genuinely dangerous? Or do you think we sometimes convince ourselves that the warning signs aren't as serious as they seem until something happens that can't be taken back?
Definitely convince ourselves.
Yeah, because, people thought, look at me and Albert Fish, a man, old man they thought was very innocent, couldn't do these things that he did. Did the most twisted, vile things I can remember.
Yeah,
Here, let me shove a needle in my taint.
And especially when it comes to someone that you consider close to you, you're going to pull that veil over your own eyes to try to shadow it so that way you can be like, oh, it happens sometimes, it's not all the time, and then it escalates. And
yeah. Well, look at Ted Bundy.
there's always signs. It's when they progress you need to pay more attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if your kid at 5 years old says, Dad, can you pull over so I can get the dead raccoon off the side of the road? Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't be like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Don't do it.
Just don't.
And that question sits at the center of today's case, because long before John Price was murdered, Katherine Knight had already shown the people closest to her exactly what she was capable of. There had been threats, violent attacks, and warnings that became increasingly impossible to ignore.
John knew Katherine was dangerous. In fact, the day before he died, he told his coworkers that if he didn't arrive at work the following morning, it would be because she killed him.
And really quickly, if you're new here and enjoy true crime, paranormal stories, and unexplained mysteries, make sure you follow Veil of Echoes so you never miss a new episode.
Before we begin, this episode includes domestic violence, child and animal endangerment, sexual abuse, and graphic descriptions of murder and post-mortem mutilation. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
So dim the lights, get comfortable, and listen carefully to the warnings left behind. Because sometimes, the most frightening monsters are the ones we invite through the front door.
To understand how Katherine Knight became capable of such unimaginable violence, we have to return to the beginning, to a childhood where fear, instability, and abuse were already deeply rooted. Katherine Mary Knight was born on October 24, 1955, in Tenterfield, New South Wales, Australia. She was one of twin girls born to Barbara Rogan and Ken Knight. But long before Katherine entered the world, her family had already been fractured by betrayal and scandal.
Barbara was married to a man named Jack Rogan, with whom she had 4 sons. But while they were still married, Barbara began a relationship with Ken Knight, her husband's friend and coworker. When the affair became known, the backlash from the community forced Barbara and Ken to leave the area and relocate to the town of Moore. Barbara's 4 sons did not go with them. The 2 oldest remained with their father, while the 2 younger boys were sent to live with an aunt in Sydney.
Barbara and Ken eventually had 4 children of their own, including Katherine and her twin sister. Then, when Katherine was approximately 4 years old, Jack Rogan died. His 2 oldest sons joined Barbara and Ken's household, bringing the different sides of the already complicated family together beneath the same roof.
The home Katherine grew up in was reportedly dominated by violence. Ken was described as a deeply abusive alcoholic who routinely assaulted Barbara. In turn, Barbara spoke openly to her daughters about her experiences and expressed a profound hatred of both sex and men. The boundaries between parent and child were almost non-existent, and Katherine was exposed to conversation and behavior no child was equipped to understand.
Katherine later alleged that she was repeatedly sexually assaulted by several members of her family until she was around 11 years old. Some details of her claims have been questioned over the years. However, psychiatrists who later evaluated Katherine accepted the allegations, and portions of her account were reportedly supported by other members of the family. None of this excuses the violence Katherine would later commit. Countless people survive childhood abuse without ever inflicting that suffering upon someone else. But it does provide important context for the environment in which her ideas about love, control, and violence first developed.
Outside of her twin sister, Katherine reportedly felt close to very few people. One exception was her uncle, Oscar Knight, a respected horseman whom Katherine deeply admired. In 1969, when Katherine was 13 years old, Oscar died by suicide. His death devastated her. Katherine would later claim that Oscar's ghost continued to visit her, a belief she reportedly maintained well into adulthood. That same year, the family moved to Aberdeen.
At school, Katherine appeared to move between two very different versions of herself. When calm, she could behave like a model student and was reportedly recognized for her good conduct. But when angered, her behavior could change quickly. So, what, like Jekyll and Hyde, kind of?
Yeah, kind of.
Exactly.
Former classmates remembered her as a loner and as a bully who intimidated children smaller than she was. She was also reported to have attacked at least one boy with a weapon.
I'm telling you, these damn kids, man.
I know.
Getting beat up with weapons now.
Katherine left school at 15 years old without having learned to read or write. She initially found work cutting fabric in a clothing factory, but the job didn't hold her interest for long. She wanted work that was more physical, something that allowed her to use her hands. And before long, Katherine found employment at a local slaughterhouse. Why is it always me?
I know it is.
It's literally me every single time. Cat gets gutted. Lindsay has to read about the cat getting gutted. Dog gets its head chopped off. Lindsay's got to read about the dog getting its head chopped off. Every damn time.
I mean, didn't you get to read the part about the deer and Matthew Shepard? The deer was fine.
Yeah.
It's not the only time.
That was about to say, but even that was sad because the deer just kind of like
It started
waited
with,
there and just.
It's never a happy, the dog bit off the murderer's nuts so he didn't get to get it fucking kill anybody.
Yeah, we need to do a story on that where an animal has taken out an intruder.
That'd be
I
perfect
agree.
for that.
Fractures in reality.
I got that book too, that's good.
Yeah.
Katherine would later describe it as her dream job. Inside the slaughterhouse, blood was ordinary. Carcasses hung from hooks, and sharp blades were simply the tools of trade.
Her dream job?
Yeah, who the fuck are you? The
Yeah,
Texas Chainsaw
I dream
Massacre?
of being a worker in a slaughterhouse. Yeah. God, that's amazing. God. The amount of money I could make. Woo-wee.
Yeah.
Come home smelling like shit, bro.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Katherine learned quickly. She became skilled at separating flesh from bone, and was eventually presented with a set of butcher's knives of her own. Knives she valued so deeply, she chose to hang them directly over her bed.
She's a nut job. Psychopath.
Oh my
What?
god.
It's alright to have a fascination with blades and stuff and have a collection, but have them hanging over your bed? I don't care if it's the wall or from the ceiling like floating candles, but...
Did she name her blades too?
Oh my god, probably.
Oh my god, I don't know.
One's named Jeffrey, the other
with
one's
Billy?
Tom,
Probably.
Fred.
This is John, because that's the one I'm about to kill him with.
And years later, when violence finally followed Katherine home, those knives would still be waiting. For most people, the local slaughterhouse was simply a place to earn a living. The The work was physically demanding, their surroundings were harsh, and every shift unfolded among the sounds of machinery, metal hooks, and sharpened blades. But Katherine felt at home there. She began by cutting and processing offal, the internal organs and other parts removed during butchering. And before long, she advanced to boning, a position that required precision, strength, and complete confidence with a knife.
This bitch is fucking nuts. What the fuck? Katherine reportedly took enormous pride in her work. When she received her own set of butcher knives, she treated them as something more than ordinary tools. She carefully maintained them, and rather than leaving them at work or storing them safely inside her home, Katherine hung them above her bed. When asked why, she reportedly explained that she wanted them close by, in case she ever needed them. It was a practice she would continue for years.
It was at the Aberdeen slaughterhouse that Katherine became acquitted with David Collette. David had previously worked for the railway, where he reportedly endured 2 deeply traumatic incidents. In one, he witnessed his closest friend die in a railway accident. In another, he helped rescue victims from a school bus that had been struck by a train, an accident that killed 6 children.
Those experiences reportedly affected David profoundly. He began drinking heavily, and as his behavior and work performance deteriorated, he eventually lost his position with the railway. David later found work at the Aberdeen slaughterhouse, where he became close friends with one of Katherine's brothers. And through that friendship, he grew closer to Katherine.
Their relationship was volatile from the beginning. David was known to drink and become involved in fights. And when he did, Katherine did not try to pull him away. She joined him. She was fiercely protective, physically aggressive, and willing to use her fist against anyone she believed had crossed them. To outsiders, the two may have appeared well matched, but the violence Katherine directed towards others would soon be turned against David himself.
In 1974, Katherine insisted that they marry. The couple arrived at the ceremony on Katherine's motorcycle, with David riding behind her, and reportedly already heavily intoxicated. But it was something Katherine's own mother said that day that would later sound less like casual advice, and more like a warning.
Barbara pulled David aside and told him to be careful. She warned him never to cross Katherine, never to betray her, and especially never to leave her for another woman. Because according to Barbara, if David ever made that mistake, Katherine might kill him. Despite the warning, the ceremony continued, and Katherine and David exchanged their vows and began their life together. But before their wedding night was over, David would be given his first glimpse of just how quickly Katherine's affection could become violent.
According to later accounts, Katherine became enraged when David fell asleep after they had been intimate. And while her new husband lay beside her, Katherine wrapped her hands around his throat and attempted to strangle him.
What?
Motherfucker, you nutted and passed out.
That's what I was just getting ready to think. Did he finish too quick for her or something?
I don't know, it just says after. I don't know how long it took the man, but she wasn't happy that he fell asleep.
This bitch is crazy.
She probably felt in that moment that he was just using her, and then once he was done, she didn't like it.
Okay.
Like,
I couldn't.
The night of their first, they just got married.
They just got married. She choked his ass because he passed out after he nutted. I love it.
oh, I'm exhausted now, honey.
That should be a compliment. I mean, he's fucking good. He's out.
Oh my god.
She said,
That was about to
motherfucker.
This lady's nuts.
That normally means it was a good time, damn.
Yeah, she said, fuck you.
She's like, we need to go for round 2, bitch.
Have you seen a picture of her?
Shit's creepy. She looks like she's...
Can you imagine?
She looks like a Karen.
But she's a Catherine.
Like, instead of Catherine, they needed to rename her Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
She's
This
like a
poor guy,
she's like a
though,
praying
Jesus.
mantis.
Oh my, yes.
We know some pretty
Yes,
crazy shit, but
that
nothing
is-
like that.
She's
Yep.
straight up like a praying mantis.
Yep.
We're gonna have a good time, then I'm gonna fucking kill you afterward, you dumb bitch.
That's right. That is pretty much what it is.
God, she tried to strangle. That's crazy.
I'm gonna
God.
entice you to come and have a good time, and then I'm gonna fucking take you out.
Jesus.
Have a good day.
There's your warning. Don't fall asleep right after.
Don't fall asleep around Catherines, people. Sorry to any of our listeners who are Catherines. But nah, I don't trust y'all.
They're probably just like, we get it. We get it. It was the first night of their marriage, and already, Catherine's mother's warning was beginning to come true.
The violence on Catherine and David's wedding night was not an isolated incident. Their marriage quickly became unstable. Well, I can imagine.
Well, yeah.
I mean, what would you do if that was your first night of being married? Like,
Right.
either person in that situation, like, oh, here we go.
It was marked by heavy drinking, jealousy, and increasingly dangerous attacks. At times, Catherine could appear affectionate and devoted, but when she felt ignored, rejected, or betrayed, her behavior could change without warning.
Ah.
Fucking bipolar bitch.
Mm-hmm.
During Catherine's first pregnancy, David entered a darts competition. He performed well enough to reach the finals and arrived home later than Catherine expected. By the time he returned, she had burned all of his clothing and shoes. Then, as David entered the house, Catherine struck him across the back of the head with a frying pan. Motherfucker. This fucking bitch is like, nobody can have you! If I can't have you, nobody can have you!
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Terrified that Catherine might kill him, David fled to the neighbor's home, where he collapsed and later received medical treatment. Police wanted to pursue charges against Catherine, but afterward, her behavior toward David changed. She became apologetic and affectionate, and eventually persuaded him not to cooperate with the case. Once again, Catherine avoided lasting consequences.
In May of 1976, Catherine gave birth to their first daughter, Melissa. But only weeks later, David reached his breaking point. Unable to endure the violence any longer, he left Catherine for another woman and moved to Queensland. The following day, witnesses reportedly saw Catherine walking through town with her newborn daughter in a stroller, violently throwing it from side to side. She was admitted to St. Elmo's Hospital in Tamworth, diagnosed with postnatal depression, and remained there for several weeks.
But shortly after her release, Catherine placed her 2-month-old daughter on a railway track, with a train expected to pass through the area.
What the fuck is wrong with her?
She's still alive too.
Yes, she's 70.
A local man known as Old Ted happened to be nearby. He discovered the infant and pulled her from the tracks only minutes before the train arrived.
Thank God.
Catherine then obtained an axe and went into town, where she threatened to kill several people. She was arrested and returned to the hospital, but reportedly signed herself out the following day.
What?
They always do that. They
She
always
just
sign
tried
themselves out.
To kill her 2-month-old
See,
daughter.
If you check yourself in, they're like, okay, well, you're staying here for at least fucking
Just
a
like they
week
did with
because-
Lizette Von Hort. She went swinging with an axe in the gas
That's
station.
what I was about to ask. Is this the woman
Yeah, it
that they
was
just
the
caught at the
machete.
gas station?
But she didn't sign herself out, and this bitch can.
Yeah, I think Lizette is in there for life.
Only days later, the situation escalated again. Catherine attacked a woman with one of her knives, slashing her across the face. She then demanded that the woman drive her to Queensland so she could find David. When they stopped at a service station, the woman managed to escape. But before police could take Katherine into custody, she seized a young boy and held a knife to him.
What the fuck?
Jesus.
This bitch is fucking nuts.
Officers eventually disarmed Katherine and took her to Morisset Psychiatric Hospital. There, she reportedly told medical staff exactly what she had intended to do. She planned to kill a mechanic she blamed for helping David leave town. Then, once she reached Queensland, she intended to kill David and his mother.
When police warned David about the threats, he made a decision that can be difficult to understand from the outside. He left the woman he had been seeing and returned with his mother to care for Katherine. It may seem unthinkable that someone would return after enduring so much violence. But abusive relationships are rarely governed by simple choices. Fear, guilt, manipulation, children, and the hope that someone will change can all keep a person trapped in a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to escape.
I feel like either way, one of these two were destined to murder each other, because if she would have kept up with the shenanigans and he would have stayed alive, he probably would have murdered her.
And this wasn't even the one she killed.
This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah, John's the one. Ooh.
Yeah.
Poor John. Katherine was released from the hospital in August of 1976 and placed in the care of her mother-in-law. She and David moved to Ipswich, west of Brisbane, where Katherine found work at another meat processing facility. For a time, their lives appeared to stabilize. In March of 1980, Katherine gave birth to their second daughter, Natasha. But whatever calm existed between them did not last.
In 1984, after 10 years of marriage, Katherine left David.
What the fuck? You can't leave me, but I can leave you, you stupid bitch.
I done beat all the candy out of this one.
Yeah.
Like, you knocked this motherfucker unconscious with a frying pan.
Jesus.
Made him leave a woman that he probably would have still been with to come back to you to make sure nothing crazy happened. Just to leave him for somebody else.
She returned first to her parents' home in Aberdeen and later moved to nearby Muswellbrook. Their marriage was over, but the pattern that had defined it was not. Katherine had already attacked her husband, endangered her infant daughter, taken a woman and child hostage, and openly described plans to kill the people she believed had betrayed her. Yet, she remained free.
And the next man who entered Katherine's life would soon learn that her threats were never empty.
After separating from David, Katherine returned to the Hunter Valley and resumed working at the slaughterhouse. But in 1985, she injured her back and began receiving a disability pension. She was eventually provided with a government-owned home in Aberdeen, the small community where her reputation for violence was already well known. Then, in 1986, Katherine met a minor named David Saunders.
David was 38 years old when their relationship began. Within several months, he moved into Katherine's home with her and her daughters. But he kept his apartment in the nearby town of Scone, a decision that reportedly fueled Katherine's jealousy. She became consumed by what David might be doing whenever they were apart. She would accuse him of being unfaithful, force him out of the house, and then follow him to Scone, begging him to return.
Same old patterns.
Same stupid bitch.
Same name, different dude.
Yeah.
Whew. The relationship developed into a familiar cycle. Katherine would become suspicious. Her suspicions would turn into rage. Then after the violence or threats had passed, she would attempt to pull David back into the relationship. But in May of 1987, Katherine delivered a warning he could not dismiss.
David had a 2-month-old dingo puppy. Okay, for our listeners who, I just want to give a brief, disclaimer, because this involves abuse of an animal, unfortunately.
Yeah, and this stupid bitch is still alive.
Yeah. Katherine took the puppy and cut its throat in front of him. She reportedly told David that the killing was meant to show him exactly what would happen if he had ever had an affair. Then, she struck him with a frying pan, knocking him unconscious. The animal had not threatened her, it had not harmed her, but Katherine killed it for one reason, to demonstrate the consequence of disobedience.
I'm gonna tell you right now, any person that touches an animal, you are automatically a piece of shit.
2 months old.
Automatically a huge pile of steaming hot shit that deserves to be stepped on and trampled on until you are in the ground and you are no longer visible and all your bones are dust.
Agreed.
Especially for no other reason but jealousy.
Wow. A poor baby dog. What the hell?
And yes, people are probably saying, oh, it's weird for somebody to have more empathy towards an animal than human.
Well, then you see why.
This is exactly why.
Exactly.
This is exactly why.
Yeah, because humans built a society because they're supposed to know better, but animals, it's their nature to be the way they are.
100%. And again, to our listeners, I will say this, and I will say it all the time. I do value animals more than humans sometimes.
Oh, yes. I mean, it makes sense, you know.
Most of the time.
Yeah, it's honestly like a 90-10.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
did.
In June of 1988, Katherine gave birth to their daughter, Sarah. Afterwards, David placed a deposit on a house for the family. Katherine later paid the remaining deposit with money she received through a workers' compensation settlement. The home should have represented stability. Instead, its interior reflected Katherine's growing fixation with death and violence.
She covered the house with animal skins, skulls, horns, rusted traps, machetes, and farm tools. Even the ceilings were reportedly decorated like a Cracker Barrel. Virtually no space was left uncovered, but the most dangerous thing inside the home was Katherine herself.
I was just getting ready to say, do we live in a freaking Cracker Barrel?
Right.
There's only what's that other place? There's one other restaurant we went to where they had all that shit hanging above us.
Oh,
But they had a lot of cool shit.
54th Street?
Probably. They didn't just have like random farm tools and shit that could fall off the hook and murder somebody.
This reminds me of like Ed Gein's house, but his was with people.
The Cracker Barrel stuff still put on with the chains that has fucking been put up with them originally.
During another argument, Katherine struck David in the face with an iron. She then stabbed him in the abdomen with a pair of scissors. David survived and returned to his apartment in Scone. When he later came back to Aberdeen, he discovered that Katherine had cut apart all of his clothing. This time, he decided disappearing was the only way to escape her.
This bitch is fucking nuts.
Definitely nuts.
And the shittier part is these men kept going back to her.
Yeah, because I don't know how she can manipulate and talk them into coming back.
I think
the children.
But
I think getting
how
hit in the...
she wasn't even attractive.
I think getting hit in the head with the frying pan the first time should have told you something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the iron wouldn't have happened.
Like,
oh my god.
bro,
sorry.
if you're being hit upside the head and you got a skull fracture, it's time to leave that bitch.
Right.
If somebody comes to that obsessed with you where they gotta smack you with something like, I love you. If you love me, you wouldn't have fucked me up. What the fuck?
Crazy.
David took an extended leave from work and went into hiding. Katherine searched for him, but the people who knew where he was refused to tell her. Several months later, David returned to see his daughter. By then, Katherine had gone to the police and claimed that she was frightened of him, resulting in an apprehended violence order being issued against David. The relationship was over, but once again, Katherine's violence had not resulted in lasting consequences for her. Wonder if she tried to strangle any of them guys after they got done doing it and they fell asleep.
No, only the first David.
Jesus.
I don't know what he did wrong, but she was not happy. In 1991, Katherine became involved with another former slaughterhouse worker named John Chillingworth. She became pregnant, and the following year, she gave birth to her only son, Eric. Their relationship lasted approximately 3 years. Compared with the others, relatively little has been publicly documented about their time together. What is known is that it ended after Katherine began seeing another man, a minor, a father of 3, and someone who was already aware of her violent reputation.
Okay, sorry, I just realized something. So, David, the first David, I don't
David K.
David K. Then she got with a David Saunders. Then she got with a John Chillingworth. And then a John Price.
And John Price is the one that...
But what? Is she just seeking out these names for... I don't know.
Apparently.
She's like, well, the first David didn't work, let's try another one. Well, the first John didn't work, let's try another one.
What's going on here?
I mean, these 3 lucked out compared to the last John, so...
Yeah.
Especially the first John.
His name was John Price. To the people who knew him, John was hardworking, generous, and deeply devoted to his children. And when Katherine entered his life, he believed he understood the risk. But knowing what someone has done before does not always prepare you for what they might do next. John Charles Thomas Price was born on April 4th, 1955. By the time Katherine entered his life, John was a father of 3 whose marriage had ended several years earlier. His youngest daughter lived with his former wife, while his 2 older children remained at home with him. To the people who knew John, he was more than the victim of a notorious crime. He was a hard-working miner, a devoted father, and someone whose friends described him simply as a terrific bloke.
John was well liked within the close-knit community of Aberdeen. He earned a good living in the local mines and had worked for the same company for 17 years. His home provided stability for his children, and by most accounts, John was the kind of person others could depend on. But when his relationship with Katherine began, he was not unaware of her reputation. He knew she could be volatile. He knew she had been violent with former partners. And he knew that people in Aberdeen were frightened of what she might do when she became angry.
Still, abusive relationships rarely begin with the worst moment. There are periods of affection, promises that things will be different, and enough seemingly good days to make the dangerous ones easier to minimize. When Katherine moved into John's home in 1995, his children reportedly liked her. John was doing well at work, and for a time, their life together appeared happy. One later account described it as though everything was coming up roses.
But beneath the surface, the same pattern was beginning again. Katherine became possessive. Arguments became increasingly volatile, and the possibility of violence was never far away. In 1998, Katherine began pressuring John to marry her. John refused, and Katherine responded by targeting something that had provided him with security for nearly 2 decades: his career.
Katherine recorded a videotape showing several items John had brought home from work. The items were reportedly outdated medical kits that had been discarded by the company. But Katherine sent the recording to John's employer and accused him of stealing them. As a result, John was fired from the job he had held for 17 years.
What a bitch.
She is stupid.
Damn.
I want to scalp this bitch.
Yeah.
For John, the betrayal was devastating. On the same day he lost his job, he forced Katherine out of his home. And as word of what she had done spread through Aberdeen, the community's distrust of her deepened. For several months, the relationship appeared to be over. But eventually, John allowed Katherine back into his life.
He did not allow her to move into his house again. The two maintained separate homes, and John attempted to establish at least some distance between them. But the arguments continued, and their relationship became even more volatile. Many of John's friends struggled to understand why he had taken Katherine back. Some began distancing themselves from him, while the relationship continued, and slowly, John became more isolated.
It can be easy to look back and ask why someone stayed, why they returned, or why they did not simply walk away. But leaving an abusive partner can be one of the most dangerous moments in the relationship. And for John, there was another fear: his children. He knew Katherine's violence was not limited to her romantic partners. He knew she had used children and animals for punishment, frighten, and control people before. And he had reason to believe that if he tried to leave her, someone else might suffer for it.
By February of 2000, the violence had reached a breaking point. During a series of assaults, Katherine stabbed John in the chest. He survived, but this time, he had reached the end of what he could endure. John removed Katherine from his home once again and began taking steps to keep her away from both himself and his children.
On February 28, 2000, John stopped at the courthouse on his way to work. There, he applied for an apprehended violence order against Katherine. It was an acknowledgement that the danger was real, and that whatever control he thought he still had over the situation was slipping away. But a court order was only a piece of paper, and before the day was over, John would tell his coworkers exactly what he believed Katherine was going to do. After seeking an apprehended violence order against Katherine, John continued to work, but those around him could tell that something had changed. He no longer spoke about Katherine's violence as though it were another argument they would eventually move past. This time, John believed she was going to kill him.
His coworkers urged him not to return home. They believed he should find somewhere else to stay, somewhere Katherine could not reach him. But John refused. His children lived in that house, and he was afraid that if Katherine could not get to him, she might turn her anger towards them instead.
Before leaving work, John gave his coworkers a warning. If he did not arrive the following morning, he told them it would be because Katherine had murdered him. It was not a passing comment. It was a prediction made by a man who understood that the person he was trying to leave had become more dangerous than ever.
When John arrived home that afternoon, he discovered that his 2 children were gone. Without his knowledge, Katherine had arranged for them to spend the night at a friend's house. At first, it may have appeared that they were safely beyond her reach, but removing the children from the home also meant that John would be there alone.
Earlier that day, Katherine had purchased new black lingerie. She also recorded a video of her children, speaking to them and making comments that investigators would later interpret as crude, makeshift will. Whether she had already decided exactly what she was going to do is impossible to know, but her behavior suggested that she believed something final was approaching.
John spent part of that evening with his neighbors. They were among the last people known to have seen him alive. At approximately 11 o'clock, John left their home, returned to his own house, and went to bed. Katherine was not there when he arrived, but sometime later, she came back.
John was asleep when Katherine entered the house. She sat in the living room and watched television for several minutes. Then she took a shower, entered the bedroom, and woke him. Despite the violence of the previous days, and despite the order John had sought against her, the two were intimate. and afterward, John fell asleep again. How could you even be intimate with something like that? How would you even be in the mood?
Uh-oh, he fell asleep.
Katherine remained awake. Somewhere inside the house was one of the knives she had spent years learning to use. A blade designed to separate flesh from bone. And in the darkness, John lay completely unaware of what was about to happen. This bitch is fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah, that's definitely fucking praying mantis work right there.
As soon as somebody falls asleep, she's like, I'm gonna fucking murder you.
For years, Katherine had responded to rejection with threats, destruction, and violence. Now John had removed her from his home. He had sought legal protection, and he had finally told the people around him that he believed she would kill him.
Sometime before morning, Katherine took the knife and approached the bed. John's warning was about to come true. What happened inside John Price's home during the early hours of March 1st, 2000 would later be reconstructed through blood evidence, forensic examination, and the condition in which police found the house. The details are extremely disturbing.
Investigators believe Katherine first attacked John with a butcher's knife while he was sleeping. But John did not die in the bed. The evidence indicated that he awakened during the attack and attempted to turn on a light. Then, he tried to escape.
A trail of blood showed John moving from the bedroom and through the house as Katherine pursued him. Despite his injuries, he reached the front door and managed to get outside. But he did not remain there. Investigators could not determine whether John stumbled back into the home or whether Katherine dragged him inside. What they did know was that he ultimately collapsed in the hallway, where he had bled to death.
Jesus. Poor guy. John had been stabbed at least 37 times. The wounds covered both the front and back of his body, and many penetrated vital organs. His final moments had not been quick. He had awakened to Katherine's attack, understood what was happening, and fought desperately to escape the prediction he had made only hours earlier.
After John died, Katherine left the house. She traveled into Aberdeen and withdrew $1,000 from his bank account. Then she returned home. What followed took place over several hours and transformed an already brutal murder into one of the most disturbing crime scenes Australian investigators have ever encountered.
Katherine used the skills she had developed during her years at the slaughterhouse to mutilate John's body. She removed his skin and suspended it from a meat hook inside the house. She then decapitated him and placed his head into a cooking pot with vegetables. When police later entered the kitchen, the contents of the pot were still warm, indicating that the cooking had occurred only hours earlier.
God, this poor guy. That's awful what happened to him. Katherine also removed and cooked portions of John's body. She prepared vegetables and gravy alongside them, then arranged 2 complete place settings at the dining table. Beside each plate, she placed a handwritten note bearing the name of one of John's children. Investigators concluded that Katherine intended for the children to be served the meals when they returned home.
It's like, hi kids, welcome home. Here, I made you some meatloaf.
Oh my god. This is like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets. I don't know. This is just awful.
A third portion was discovered on the back lawn. Why it was placed there has never been definitively established. Some later speculated that Katherine may have attempted to eat it herself and was unable to. But that has never been proven. I guarantee you she tried to, because why is she feeding it to her fucking kids?
His kids.
His kids.
Yeah.
Why is she feeding it?
Because she's...
Demented.
Yeah, she's evil.
Like...
Fucking
She
nuts.
had to have tried it.
Yeah, that's the worst part. It's like they weren't hers and his. They were just his kids.
That's awful. Gosh.
Katherine then positioned John's body inside the home in a manner prosecutors would later describe as deliberately degenerating. On top of a photograph of John, she left a bloodstained handwritten note containing accusations against him. Those accusations were investigated, and authorities found no evidence to support them.
It says she arranged John's body with the left arm draped over an empty 1-liter soft drink bottle with the legs crossed. This was claimed in court to be an act of defilement demonstrating Knight's contempt for Price. Knight had left a handwritten note on top of a photograph of Price, bloodstained and covered with small pieces of flesh. It read, "Time got you back, Jonathan, for rapping my daughter," is how she said it. "You to Beck for Ross, for little John. Now play with little John's Dick John Price." The accusations in the note were found to be groundless.
She was just throwing shade to try to make it look like she did it to defend other people.
I guess, yeah. By the time Katherine was finished, the house had become a carefully arranged scene. One that appeared designed not only to destroy John, but to punish and traumatize the children he had tried to protect.
At approximately 6 o'clock that morning, a neighbor noticed that John's car was still sitting in the driveway. John should have already left for work, but the house remained silent. When he failed to arrive for his shift, his employer remembered the warning John had given the day before. A coworker was sent to check on him.
The coworker and a neighbor approached the house and attempted to wake John by knocking on his bedroom window. No one responded. Then they noticed blood on the front door. Police were called.
Officers forced their way inside through the rear entrance. They found John in the hallway. Katherine was also inside the house, unconscious after apparently taking a large quantity of pills. She was alive, but John was not.
The responding officers were confronted with a scene so graphic that it would later affect nearly every stage of the legal proceedings. But amid the horror, one fact remained impossible to ignore. John had predicted his own murder. He had warned the people around him, and when he failed to arrive at work, they immediately knew whose name to give police.
Katherine Knight had spent years telling people what she was capable of. On the morning of March 1st, the evidence was hanging inside John's home.
Katherine survived the apparent overdose and was taken into custody. When questioned, she claimed to have no memory of murdering John, or of anything she had done to his body afterward. Her legal team initially offered a plea of guilty to manslaughter. Prosecutors rejected it. The crime, they argued, was murder.
Katherine was formally charged with John's murder and entered a plea of not guilty. Her attorneys prepared a defense based on amnesia and disassociation, arguing that Katherine had mentally detached from her actions and could not remember committing them. Multiple psychiatrists examined her. Although several accepted that she may have disassociated during portions of the crime, they determined that Katherine was legally sane. 2 psychiatrists diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder.
Her trial was eventually scheduled to begin in October of 2001. Because of the exceptionally graphic evidence, Justice Barry O'Keefe gave the prospective jurors an opportunity to be excused. 5 immediately accepted. Several others withdrew after hearing the names of the witnesses who would testify. A jury was eventually selected, but it would never be asked to reach a verdict.
Before opening arguments began, Katherine's attorneys approached the judge and the proceedings were adjourned until the following morning. Overnight, Katherine underwent another psychiatric evaluation to ensure she understood the consequences of what she was about to do. The next day, she changed her plea. Katherine Knight pleaded guilty to the murder of John Price. No complete explanation for the sudden decision has ever been publicly provided, and despite entering the plea, Katherine continued to deny responsibility for her actions.
During the sentencing hearing, Katherine's attorney asked that she be excused from listening to some of the most graphic evidence. The judge refused. When a forensic expert described what had been done to John's body, Katherine became hysterical and had to be sedated. But according to the court, her distress did not reflect genuine remorse for the man she had killed.
On November 8th, 2001, Justice O'Keefe delivered Katherine's sentence. He described the crime as exceptionally brutal and emphasized both the calculated degeneration of John's body and Katherine's lack of remorse. Katherine was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Her prison papers were marked with an extraordinary instruction: never to be released.
The sentence made Katherine Knight the first woman in Australian history to receive life imprisonment without any possibility of parole. It meant that regardless of her age, behavior, or the number of years she survived behind bars, she was intended to die in prison.
In 2006, Katherine appealed the sentence. Her attorneys argued that life without parole was too severe. The New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeal disagreed. The appeal was dismissed. One of the justices described the crime as so appalling that it was almost beyond contemplation in a civilized society.
Yeah, that was like savagery. And then you're going to feed him to his children after you obviously tried him. Katherine remains incarcerated at Silverwater Women's Correctional Center in New South Wales. Reports from inside the prison have portrayed her as an influential figure among other inmates. Someone who has occasionally acted as a mediator during disputes. But whatever role Katherine occupies behind prison walls, the court's instructions remains unchanged. She is never to be released.
Yeah, it does. It says she has maintained model behavior during her incarceration.
To try to get out.
She has received the nickname Nana from her fellow inmates.
She's old.
She has been viewed as a calm, caring, and benign figure by some of the other incarcerated women.
Well, because they're women.
Yeah.
As long as your name ain't John or David, you're fine.
Right. Jeez. Katherine Knight's crime became infamous because of what police discovered inside John's home. But John Price should not be remembered only for the horrific way his life ended. He was a father of 3, a hard-working miner, and a friend and neighbor whom the people of Aberdeen cared deeply about, and a man who spent his final hours trying to protect his children from the person he believed intended to kill him.
John recognized the danger. He sought legal protections. He warned his coworkers, and still, Katherine reached him before anyone else could.
His murder did not come without warning. It followed decades of threats, assaults, and escalating violence against partners, children, animals, and strangers. Again and again, Katherine showed the people around her exactly what she was capable of. And again, she remained free to do it to someone else.
Katherine's childhood may help us understand the world in which her violence first developed, but it does not excuse the choices she made as an adult. Trauma does not predetermine cruelty. Mental illness does not make someone inherently violent, and neither should be used to diminish Katherine's responsibility for the life she deliberately took. John Price deserved safety. He deserved to be believed, and above all, he deserved to return home without fearing that the person waiting for him there would make his darkest prediction come true. May his story be remembered for more than the woman who murdered him. And that concludes this episode of Vale of Echoes, the story of Katherine Knight and the murder of John Price. So before we close this episode, I want to know what you guys are thinking of this case.
I just keep thinking about the dog. My mind's not going to leave the dog. Sorry.
It showed no signs of violence. It wasn't aggressive towards her, the children, him at all. She just did it out of pure...
None of them, though.
She did it out of spite.
Nutness.
None of these men
I'm
were...
just talking about the dog.
Well, that too,
Well,
but
yeah, I
the
mean,
men,
the men
though,
as well.
too,
It doesn't
you
say...
know?
Makes me think, like, did she ever date before she got into her fucking time to marry people years? Because there should have been some people giving warnings, but they probably fled the country. Like, fuck that.
I feel bad for the men that were with her, I really do, but I feel even worse for the dog.
Well, yeah.
Just to hold him up and to take a knife and do that
Stop it.
in front of the owner.
Stop it.
Well, and she fucking snatched some stranger's child and held a knife to his throat just to get her way to David.
And her 2-month-old daughter.
Put her on the train tracks. Good thing old Ted was there.
Yeah, thanks, old Ted.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. And then yet she, again, but then when the Zet von Horseman she was released.
Yeah, I just can't stop thinking about the dog.
I don't know. It's awful.
Yeah, I don't know. That was like, the law should have stepped in a long time ago. Like, this woman's not fit for society.
No.
She either needs to be fucking, even what she's showing now, like, yeah, she's showing compassion towards other women. Like,
yeah, she just hated men. Honestly.
Exactly. Like Eileen. She can show compassion towards women. She murdered men because of the way she was treated growing up.
Right.
This woman, doesn't say anything about her being abused by her father or anything like that. I guess her dad wasn't too good to her mom, but her mom didn't seem like she was too friendly either, so she was just in a situation to be a kind of a bad person.
Yeah. Well, Ken was a violent alcoholic who would rape Barbara up to 10 times per day.
The father.
Mom. Yeah.
Okay.
Ken was the one she had an affair with. A friend and coworker of her then husband.
Oh. Jesus.
Yeah.
So you left a guy, had an affair with a man who ended up raping you 10 times a day.
And then Katherine alleged she was frequently sexually assaulted by several members of her family.
She alleged.
Until she was aged 11. And I think that's something we really want to emphasize. John's decision to return home does not make him responsible for what happened there. The responsibility belongs entirely to Katherine. John was trying to protect his children from someone whose threats he had every reason to believe, and he deserved to be protected too.
Domestic violence can happen to anyone, regardless of gender, age, background, or how the relationship may appear from the outside. And leaving is not always as simple or as safe as people imagine.
So if you recognize any part of the story in your own life, please know that you're not alone, and help is available.
If you are in immediate danger, contact emergency services in your area. In the United States, you can reach the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. Or visit thehotline.org. For listeners in Australia, 1-800-RESPECT is available 24 hours a day at 1-800-737-732. We'll include both resources in the episode description. And to John's family and everyone who loved him, we are deeply sorry for everything that was taken from you. And before we go, we want to leave you with a glimpse at what is waiting beyond the veil this Friday.
Imagine waking suddenly in the middle of the night. Your room looks exactly the way it always does, but your body refuses to move. You try to call out, and nothing happens.
And then you notice something standing in the darkest corner of the room, a figure taller than any ordinary shadow, wearing what appears to be a long coat and a wide-brimmed hat.
He doesn't speak. He doesn't explain why he's there. He simply watches. But witnesses across the world have described seeing the same figure, sometimes during sleep paralysis, and sometimes while they were completely awake.
And according to some accounts, once the Hat Man realizes you can see him, he begins moving closer.
This Friday, we are stepping into the shadow of the Hat Man.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow Veil of Echoes and leave us a rating or review.
You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for episode updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more stories from beyond the veil.
And thank you to every person who listens, shares our episodes, enters our giveaways, or trusts us with a story of their own. Your support means more to us than we could ever fully put into words. Until next time, keep your ears open.
And the veil closed.